part of this panel. And thank you so much, the ILA team. I am Amanat Kalo. I have been working as an assistant professor at Chandigarh University nearly for the past 8 years now. So I've been handling both administrative and academic duties for all, with teaching being my passion since I was a child. So that being said, also I'm pursuing my PhD, which is nearly on the verge of completion. I'm just waiting for my viva. And my topic also is on gender neutrality on personal law. So that way is also, I think I can connect well with the theme of today's discussion. So I am a preacher of, I wouldn't say feminism, but egalitarianism. I would want to preach that all humans are ones, be it a woman and be it anyone. So that's what I hope to enlighten the viewers also and the attendees today, as much as I can share my thoughts subjectively. So yeah, thank you so much again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next?
I can go ahead. Hi, everyone. I'm Wandrila Mukherjee. I'm a senior associate at Denton's Link Legal. I would first thank Mr. Chowk for waking up us all at 11 a.m. in the morning, and we are also energized. And it's an excellent topic. With my Denton's Link Legal role, I am also associated with Indian Women in International Arbitration, and I deeply resonate with this topic that we are discussing today. I'm also the national representative for India for International Bar Association, and the chairperson of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators Young Members Group. And I'm very excited for the discussion today. Thank you.
Rashmi.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chok, for having us and with this tremendous topic, which is very prevalent nowadays to be discussed. And it's a topic after my own heart. I've been propagating it and mentoring a lot of my younger colleagues on this. My name is Rashmi Katpalia, and I have 3+ decades of experience behind me with litigation and being GC of two very large multinationals in India. Having done both the roles and the topic today, breaking the ceiling and breaking borders and women leadership, topics which are very familiar to me. And having been through my journey, I hope to share that and maybe give some tips to the colleagues who are joining. I'm a Chevening Scholar, and I am a member of CII National Legal Services Committee. I'm a regular speaker at various seminars and webinars on various topics, ESG and such others very dear to me. Also, I am a mediator and arbitrator other than being a litigator. And so now I'm no longer a GC, but I still continue to advise a lot of corporates. So I hope to talk about the corporate and breaking the barriers and the ceiling, as it were, the glass ceiling. And thank you so much, ILA, for having this group today to talk on this very important subject. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashmi. So let's start with you, Amanat. So lots of women are attending law schools in India, which is great news. In other countries, some of the developed nations, there's more women in law school than men. Which is a great sign, and hopefully India will get there one day. But in spite of that, we don't see a lot of women either as judges or senior advocates or in top leadership positions in the top 100 law firms in India. What's going on?
It is true that more women are children, as far as I see also now. Since I started teaching in 2016, there were fewer girl students as compared to what I see now. The ratio is pretty much equal, again, which is sort of, commendable to see girl childs coming up from near and here and even far off to study law with us. So while it is true, and I sort of agree that women are entering law schools more than ever before. So the real challenge, I personally believe, lies not in entry, but in maybe retention and their advancement overall in the career. So firstly, there are some kind of structural barriers, of course. So the legal profession, specifically if I talk about litigation and of course corporate practice, see, it often demands long, inflexible hours. You have to be available any time of the day. Again, so this sort of disproportionately impacts women, particularly during mid-career stages where many face some kind of, societal expectations also. And, their family requires caregiving from them. So secondly, there is what we call this leaky pipeline phenomena. So women enter in large numbers, but gradually they drop out due to lack of institutional support, mentorship, and that work-life integration policies, are lacking. So that is also one way which is impacting women choosing up these careers, especially young girls. Thirdly, informal networks and visibility gaps play a huge role. Leadership positions are often influenced by, your access to networks and then chambers and then advocates, be it in your family or in your friend circle or nearby in your neighborhood, or decision-making circles where women have historically been sort of underrepresented. Well, that is slowly and gradually changing now. And then lastly, I believe there is some sort of unconscious biasness, I believe, that still persists, questioning women leadership abilities or commitment, especially in high pressure roles. So like I'll give you an example, Chandigarh University, especially the University Institute of Legal Studies, is further divided into 4 sub-departments. So we have BLLB course, we have BBLLB, we have BCom LLB as well as LLB, 3-year law and LLM. Now, every sub-department has an HOD who is led by women. So all the HODs that we have are women. Then again, we have an executive director, the head of the UILS, who is also a woman. So, sometimes when we talk, like when they attend the higher meetings with the higher management, it's often, as I speak to my executive director, ma'am, that she feels that, whenever she enters into an office, so there are all men sitting, and perhaps she's the only executive director who's a woman in our university. And sort of she's looked down upon under, if I may say. So, I mean, I'm not sure that if they're actually trying to do so, but then again, if she's feeling it, I'm sure she's given such kind of environment where she feels, with such a feeling. So again, it is an achievement for us also that, in our institution and then our university is also giving opportunities to women, especially at such posts. So yeah, I think gradually we are sort of increasing, but then that again, when I see the same with my students, I often ask them, what are you going to do later on? So, they're a little hesitant because they have a family pressure also to get married, and then they're quite apprehensive as to what kind of family will they lead to, will they allow them to practice or not. So they are career driven, but sort of these barriers around them, I'm sure, does not motivate them as much as they should. So yes, again, some traditional aspects also are here in consideration, where I see that, girls, especially women, sort of lack the acceptance and the motivation around them to join, such fields. Well, on the other hand, there are also girl childs who are doing exceptionally well in careers. We have students who are studying and they're interning with top law firms, and, they aspire to become something. So, if I speak about them, then they are quite career driven in their mind and in what words, like sometimes you have a conversation. So you can actually feel, that she's actually focused in what she's doing. So confidence comes from within, and also the support that you have around. So again, this is what I feel at the end is there. So then again, the issue is not about your capability. It's about the access that you're given, the support from family, from friends, from even the professional people that you meet, and a systematic reform needs to be there. So the problem is not women are not reaching at the top. The system is not designed to take
Thank
them
you,
from there, I
Amanat.
feel.
Thank you. We've got two other speakers that have joined. I will ask them to introduce themselves. Prerna, please tell us a bit about you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me for this panel discussion. It's a pleasure to be a part of the
Prerna, we can't see you.
Visible now?
No.
Not visible?
I can see.
Visible
Yeah.
to
Visible
Yeah.
to you.
visible. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So to begin with, a very good morning to everyone, and happy to be here amongst all the panelists. I think they're all from very, I would say, accomplished areas. And to begin with, I'm a mediator. I specialize in mediation. And though I, of course, I began my career in litigation way back in 1992, things have changed a lot. But from what I gather, it's going to be even better from now on. From what I see in the panel, most of the women out here doing tremendously well. And of course, I look forward to interacting and learning while we are into our discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. Terina, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good evening. So my name is Tarina Mand. I am the incoming president of the South Asian Bar Association of North America, which actually was started by Navneet here. It has 32 chapters across the United States and Canada, and we represent over 18,000 attorneys and judges across the United States and Canada. As far as my practice goes, I started in big law doing defense, and then I moved to plaintiff's work. So I'm a trial attorney. I do litigation work, and I just recently opened up my own law firm.
Welcome, Terina. Congratulations on becoming the president of Sabana. There's probably 4,000 bar associations in the United States. The 3,200 counties each has a bar association. Some of the large cities have their own bar association. Every subject matter, there is a bar association. The tax, the intellectual property, the immigration, the litigation, some of these associations have 10,000 plus members. The American Bar Association has 300,000 members. And then from every alphabet, there is an ethnic bar association. Aba, Waba, Kaba, Maba, Jaba, you name an alphabet, there's an ethnic bar association. Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Arab American, Mexican, the National Black Law Society, and on and on. Of all the maybe 100 ethnic bar associations in United States, the South Asian or the Indian Bar Association is number one. We have tremendous respect. When we do a conference, we're able to raise $1 million in 5 minutes. No large law firm says no to us. Every large law firm in India says no to us, but every large law firm in the US says yes to us. How much money? 5,000, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50. Coca-Cola gave us $75,000 for our annual conference in Atlanta. They want speakers, which we give them. We have booths of these large law firms. 5, 6, 7, 800, 900 lawyers show up at the annual conference, which happens in June every year. And all the 33 SABA chapters in US and Canada are all independently run. Everybody has their own board. Everybody has their own website. Everybody has their own budget. One of the best things we did 27 years ago is that we decided that 90% of the problems in life are money. So the chapters of SABA and the national organization Sabana will not have a money conversation with each other. the chapters will not dip into the parents' kitty, and the parent will not ask the chapters for any money. So some chapters have a lot of money. The national organization doesn't care. It's the chapters' money. Some chapters are struggling, not the national parents' problem. We gave you birth. You're over 18. Get lost and live your life. And you survive. You survive. You don't. You don't. So it's a very, and the reason I'm saying all of this is that our hope for the 100 chapters of ILA that we have in India now is the same. Please do as many events as you want. Do a daily event or once a month or once a year, or don't do any event or die. It's lawyers are supposed to run the country, so now we're not going to interfere too much in how each chapter is supposed to be run. Raise your money, do whatever dues you want. We will never ask you for any money. You don't ask us for money. The chapters ask us for money. We never say no. But the point is that there is a lot of things that are wrong with the legal profession in India, a lot. And I think India cannot become a first world nation by 2047 or 2147 till we fix the legal system. The lawyers are supposed to run the country. The lawyers are supposed to be in politics, in government. And if you make a list of the top 100 lawyers, top 100 people that got us independence in 47, 75 were lawyers. Jinnah, Gandhi, Nehru, Sardar Patel, and on and on and on. But in 47, everybody was freed. 350 million people were let out of jail in India and Pakistan, except for the 200,000 lawyers back then stayed behind bars. And Article 19 of the Indian Constitution says there shall be no restraint on trade. But the biggest restraint on trade is against the lawyers in India. Cannot advertise, cannot have a booth, cannot have a website, cannot have a pan ki dukan, cannot teach, cannot take matters on a contingency basis. The purpose of law is to protect the powerless and the poor from the rich and the government and the powerful. And the only way the poor and powerless have access to justice is through information and through contingency success fee lawyering. And India has banned both: no information, no success fee lawyering. So if we want change and if we want India to become a first world nation, the lawyers have to be freed so that we can take care of the rest of the country. And that's the purpose behind Indian Lawyers Association. So my question to you, so if we want Mukherjee, change and if we want
Women
India
are
to become a first world 15% of senior advocates, and very few have sat as judges in the Supreme Court. There are many named partners in large law firms over India, but they're salaried partners, not equity partners with real equity and real P&L power. When is all of this going to change?
So Amanat very rightly pointed out about the leaking pipeline. As per a recent survey, about 50 to 55% of associates and senior associates globally are women. However, when that number comes to say managing partners or equity partners, there's a steep drop to 20 to 22%. So the question is, where is the pipeline leaking? In my view, this is not an individual problem. I think it's a three-step structural problem that we are dealing with. First, that I think we all will agree, the biggest break in the pipeline comes with motherhood. We recognize this gap in the profession, but unfortunately, we haven't really fully addressed this yet. Approximately around your 5th to 9th year of your practice, there's a transition from an executing associate to a partnership role. And exactly during that phase of your life, when you're in between 28 to 40, is when women are making life-changing decisions like relating to marriage, pregnancy, childbirth, childbirth and family building, etc. And women often manage these two full-time timelines, trying to show that nothing has really changed, but something has changed, and the profession has to recognize this change. And mere recognition is not enough, I would say. Most law firms believe that granting 4 to 6 months of maternity leave resolves the issue. But the real problem that starts is after the maternity leave comes to an end, that how do you bounce back? This is where the conversation cannot stop to maternity leave, and we should evolve and think about meaningful paternity leaves and shared parenting. Countries across the world, they've already recognized this. In Sweden, we have parents receiving nearly 480 days of paid paternity leave. Norway has introduced long paternity leaves, especially in law firms. Um, and then we have large global law firms like Clifford Chance, Linklaters, Baker McKenzie, who have paid paternity leave policies, flexible work hours for women, and of course, they have a returnship program for women re-entering the profession. So that is maybe something that can be adopted by large law firms. However, even smaller steps can be taken by mid-sized law firms, such as extending flexible working hours, allowing a hybrid structure, supporting women with client exposure and visibility during this period, and giving new mothers more opportunity to lead and again rebuild their connection with the clients. And lastly, I would say that the real shift is cultural. Law firms must stop treating flexibility as a weakness or an accommodation that is being given to new parents, and they have to start treating it as a new structure that will help the business of the firm itself. So the question should not be that why was she not physically present at all time. The question should be that did she deliver? Did she lead? Did the client trust her work? So we have to change the way we look at it.
So if you were given a magic wand and you could change one thing with regards to women in law in India, what would that be?
Women in law or women in law firms?
Anything in law, in the profession, in law firms, in
I
solo
think
practice.
overall, I strongly believe that this shared parenting should be and must be promoted by all law firms by by giving the opportunity to men to support their family equally, to lessen the burden on women. And
So you want the
secondly,
managing partner of a big law firm to talk to your husband
no, by
about
extending
shared
the policies,
parenting?
by changing the policies.
Okay.
And why not?
But shared
Definitely. Not talk to
parenting
my
comes
husband, but
from.
then make the required changes with the firm policies.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
So Prerna, so what motivated you, Prerna, to step into leadership and build your own identity in the legal profession?
Okay, so as a woman, I'd like to say that, we come from a generation where we were told what we should do. We were, women lawyers during our times could be counted on our fingers, which gave insecurity and were frowned upon by certain people. Families, when they were looking for matrimonial alliances, they feared a lawyer, bahu, to be, bahu means a daughter-in-law in English. And as if when you, most of the women today are highly educated, they have ambitious dreams. But during our times, most of them quit the profession. It was said either you're happy or you're married. Both is not possible. So ultimately, we were juggling as women and multitasking our roles, which I think even today, most of the families is the same scenario. But having made those sacrifices, I have realized that women need to be judged less. They need to be encouraged more, and they should not be marginalized or sidelined. So they say charity begins from home. And I particularly believe in that because the conditioning which happens which we provide to our sons, and whatever they see, they are basically what the famous quote is: the apple does not fall far from the tree. So coming from there, as a mother, when one foot is on the brake and the other is on the accelerator, you realize that today our daughters should have an environment which is different, where men and girls, particularly women in the profession, are feeling at par. There is no subconscious feeling of superiority in the men. And this example I see in our office, in our law firm. I see a lot of young girls, and we have in fact 70% of women workforce who are excelling in any area they choose to pick up. And I mean, of course, any vertical which they are working in. There is gender equality because we try to instill at least in some form of the other, because women do happen to have little babies, and a family to take care of. Sometimes elders are ailing, so there is a concept of maternity leave, paternity leave, play stations, daycare. I mean, I think now in High Court there is a daycare center in mediation where I specialize. Flexibility of hours, work from home, online provisions, all these are the changes which were so unheard of during our times. And also, there is no pretty picture of hard work. Every success story, whatever you may say, has to, go through a grind which is not visible to many, except for, of course, your close family. So I would just like to say that we have to, I mean, from a generation that we belong, we have to sow the seeds for the future generation, the current generation, to focus on their competence, their passion, and make each other feel like they're sisters in the field of law. They should support each other. They should not feel in any way which earlier, like there was a kind of insecurity that should be done away with. We have to uplift each other. And I would just say that there is room for everyone. So as long as you're sure of your beliefs, you have to listen to the voice that does not use words. So it's basically all within, once you're consistent and you're aware and you're sure, I think everything else will just be a byproduct.
So thank you, Prerna. So Rashmi, you are invited to a high school, and the principal calls you to her room, and there's 6 young girls finishing high school, and they're thinking about career choices. And a few of them express interest in choosing law as a career and profession. What's your advice to them?
Wow, Navneet, I mean, I do this so often. So what a question. And I've recently done this. Not to all 6, but to some of them that I know of from my niece's class. Just before I address your question, I just wanted to pitch into what Amanat had said right in the beginning, that there's a leakage in the system, etc. I just wanted to add to that. Not only is there a leakage to the system because of several reasons, which Oindrilla also pointed out to, when they are actually in the system, when you have reached a particular stage, you really need to reach out and get good matters assigned to you. You need to have people on your side of the camp. You need to network. You need to understand a little bit about the politics, whether it's within the company, in a law department, or in the law firm. Unless those bigger matters and bigger visibility comes to you, you're never going to be able to break the glass ceiling and go into the leadership roles. So in answer to your question, Navneet, when you said that, why are there less women on top? It's because they just get themselves so bound up in the grind, which Oindrilla and Prerna spoke about, dealing with the pressures, dealing with the family, dealing with society and your work, that they somehow miss the point where they have to break loose and start working on building their presence where the work that they're supposed to do is concerned. That was one point. Secondly, Prerna mentioned, that we need to be supportive of each other, etc. There's a boys' club, and lawyers is a boys' club. And we just don't do networking enough. The women just don't do enough networking to send each other cases, to stand up for each other, to give each other the support. I think that is very, very essential. Prerna's point is absolutely spot on. We really need to get ourselves supportive of each other during the phases when we are on the down, this 28 to 40, which Oindrila spoke about, and even way beyond, before that and after that. Women have to support each other to bring each other up. So when I go to these 6 girls, and what do I want to say to them to bring them into the profession of law? Firstly, it is a profession of power. The way I see it, and like you rightly mentioned, Navneet, my God, I mean, 75% of the people who brought independence to India were lawyers. How many of them were women? I really don't know. There is no pinpointing that. Maybe they were in the second rung, and that's why we haven't heard about them. Having said that, there are sufficient number to be role models now, whether it's in the High Court, as judges, High Court, Supreme Courts, law firms, leaders in law firms, and lawyers at large. These 6 girls have to look at the fact that more than their family, more than their friend circle, who's supportive of them, their education. Which educational degree brings the most power? According to me, it is law. They not only become pillars of society, but they're also adding to industry. They are giving their input to economics, to nation building, which is not to say that other industries don't, but a lawyer more so. We're the leaders in every profession. Even the smallest rung of a law firm, the lawyer, whether it's a woman or a man, is a leader in their own right, because they are interpreting everything that is going on in society and holding up the way we are supposed to live according to the laws, according to the rules, and teaching others. So those 6 girls need to know this, that this degree is going to make them, give them the exposure, make them the pillar of society, of their families, of their profession. And it is something, of course, it's become tremendously lucrative now. While it requires a lot of hard work, it also brings in the kind of empowerment for women as well as for their families, to be able to take the nation forward. And it's all about building the community, as it were. So that would be my suggestion and advice to them. And that's what I say to them all the time. This is a very important degree to have and a very important profession to go into. So that's my take on it, Navneet. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi. So, Tarina, these 6 that Rashmi talked to, they were very motivated. They chose law, went to law school, graduated, and next day show up at your office and say to you that, Tarina, you have a lot of experience, and there's 2 million lawyers in India, and we want to be in top 1% of the 2 million lawyers in India. Tell us 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things these 6 need to do, all women, to be in the top 1% of lawyers in India. What do they have to do?
Let me start by saying it's 11 o'clock here, so I apologize in advance if I'm not as eloquent as the rest of my panelists. It's way past my bedtime. I want to preface first by saying women being undervalued is not a problem just in India. It's across the globe. So across the globe, women are hitting a glass ceiling. In the United States, female associates account for about 52%, but female equity partners are only about 26.7%. So that, I think those numbers correlate with what you all are saying is happening in India. So it's not just the India problem, it's a global problem where women are undervalued and are not being paid what they're worth. Women in the United States are getting paid 85 cents to $1 of what a man is making. A Black woman makes about 53 cents. A Latina makes about 43 cents. So that's millions of dollars women are losing over their lifetime of working. So to answer your question, Navneet, if these 6 women come up to me and want to be in the top 1% of, how did you say it? 1% of what, of attorneys? Is that how you described it?
Yeah. You
Okay,
want
so
to be in top 1% of the lawyers in the US, right?
yeah, and I guess my question to that would be, what does it mean for you to be in the top 1%? I think that's the first question. For some, it's work-life balance, right? Some people have families, some people want that work-life balance. For others, it's working at the biggest defense firm, which is you're making millions of dollars as an associate. So if money's important, that's what you're going for. Do you want to become a judge? That means you're going to public service. So you're not necessarily making money, but you're dedicating your life to public service. And the goal is to then become a judge and give back to your community. So I think just wanting to be in the 1% of lawyers, it's too broad. I think what does success look like to you is more of the question. And I think it's not as black and white. So I know that doesn't quite answer your question, but that, I think my first question to those 6 women would be, what exactly does success look like to you?
Good. Thank you, Tarina. So, Amanat, should there be a quota for women in judiciary and senior advocate designations, or does the quota then delegitimize the women who make it?
I believe there should be, to somehow empower women. Although in judges, to be fair, I mean, it depends on one's capability. So, I mean, we all study hard, we all give exams. So it depends on that. I quite personally, again, don't feel that there should be a quota, especially in the appointment of judges, whereas it entirely depends. But also, the women should not be overlooked upon just because there is no quota. Or, I mean, it is a quota is like an opportunity or sort of a guard that is given to us that only then will be given an opportunity to come forward. It shouldn't be like that, in my opinion. There are judges, I have friends who are judges for the past 10 years doing extremely well inside the court as well as serving the society outside the court. So they must not be looked down upon under just because they're a woman. Their capability is no less than anyone. So they should be given an equal opportunity when it comes to the appointment of judges, especially in the high courts. Even in Punjab and Haryana High Court, we have fewer women judges. I mean, if I'm not wrong, I believe the others would know better. There are hardly 7 or 8 or 10 of them, is I can recall, maybe less than that. So again, not that they are not good enough, they are far better than a lot of people, all the other male judges. But then, if given a quota, I'm sure we could bring upon more women also. But then I feel I'm personally against reservation, see, to be honest, because we're giving you a free platform, that appears to be as such. It shouldn't be like that. I mean, you work hard, we all work hard, we work hard equally. So if there's an opportunity which should be given, it should be given regardless of any quota, I personally believe. And then arbitrators is a phase which we're supposed to see. It is, again, an upcoming sort of a profession, but there also I see a lot of women as arbitrators. I'm not sure if there could be a quota again. I'm personally quite not in favor of reservation myself. So even if it's a quota, I personally don't think so. A person should be able to perform well. If you're able to perform well, I don't think anybody should be able to stop you. So that's what I have to answer. But then again, it's completely subjective and based on my experience, I believe. I may be entirely wrong.
Good, Amanat. Good. So, Indrila, what makes a good lawyer? Somebody who studies hard, does well in law school, reads the Economic Times and Times of India and other newspapers, knows what's going on in the world, especially knows what's going on in the business world, reads The Economist, reads the Wall Street Journal, uh, plays golf, and um, learns how to do public speaking and writing, and um, available, affable all the time, and emotional intelligence, and um, understand the business world so they can answer the business people's questions. So, okay, we can go over this list of what makes the 25 requirements for the best lawyer or to be in the top 1% of the country. So my question to you is, do these standard top 25 requirements, is that a list similar for women or you have your own list? Unmute. You're muted.
You're on mute.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I just said that list gave me real anxiety. It totally depends on the kind of practice that you're doing. If you're in a law firm, if you are doing counsel practice, or if you're working in-house. So the list changes as per that. For law firm, I'll start with that. Of course, understanding in law is something that we all work on for the first maybe 10 years or 12 years of our lives in a law firm. We just focus on focus on executing the work, on how to draft and how to argue. But we don't really focus a lot on networking, like Rashmi just pointed out, that women don't really network a lot. And I feel that is something where we can really, it's a place where we can really work on early in our careers. So we should really start preparing for the next stage, that is pitching a client and getting a client. That requires almost 20 of the things that you just listed right now. So you have to be out there, you have to be available, you have to build your identity beyond the designation that has been given to you. You have to have your own team supporting you. So for that, I think networking is very, very important. Visibility is very important. So of course, executing is one part, but one huge chunk of our practice is visibility driven. And that is somewhere I feel women overall, and not just women, I feel all young practitioners should overall, work on. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. So Prerna, let's talk about biases in India. Judges calling women lawyers beti or behenji in open court. The Delhi High Court, Bombay High Court Association, it took them decades to elect women as presidents. Bar politics, it's largely a boys' club that real decisions happen after 9 p.m. with whiskey. The POSH Act covers offices, but lawyers' chambers and bar rooms, as we know, operate in a gray zone. Indu Malhotra's elevation in 2018 was called historic. First woman senior advocate elevated to Supreme Court. 8 years have gone by. How are things in India? What's happening with the bias against women lawyers?
So I would just like to add a few inputs on this. See, as mentioned by Tarina and Rashmi, I think, we all understand that first and foremost, we need to understand about ourselves, right? And when we do understand about ourselves, that's when we start making the decisions which work for us. For me, I think that, if you are determined and your focus and goal is to lead, then I think there is no concept of work-life balance. You will have to create a system where you have a safe, I would say, environment of maybe a parental role, a role of your spouse. I wouldn't say friends because today most of the young generation is working. I would say the children, they have to cooperate as well. So when we look at, leveraging all these support mechanisms, that's when we realize that, okay, we will have to probably work harder and work smarter if we wish to achieve where we wish to, look at ourselves at I'm sure everybody carries their own dreams and we make our own choices. Either we lead a team, we become a team leader by making these sacrifices. And once we accept that, okay, we are willing to, then it becomes a lot easier. Similarly, in the work environment, I mean, from Tarina, what I gather, I mean, we've not worked overseas, but I think it's a global issue. When I talk about a global issue, then obviously I understand that is the behavior pattern is across the board on similar lines. For me, the moment a woman, a determined woman, is sure of herself and is able to carry herself forward with that determination, commitment, and also her competence, she's won half the battle. And more so I say because, both my children are working, they've studied in US, both have just returned back. I see a lot of change in the thinking pattern both my children have carried back home. Today's men, from what I see and I gauge, they are willing partners in parental roles, which Andrilla mentioned, that, that is something which is a huge encouragement. That is the way I perceive it. They understand the issues at ground level. They are willing to rear up children right from birth. So, when I see all these factors, I mean, when you talk about the judiciary, we definitely have very accomplished judges sitting on benches, and the women, particularly, I would say, that are really respected in our area. So, that for me has been a huge step forward from when we began our career. I see young girls, and as I said, our office has more than 70% girls for the simple reason that not only are they committed, but they are also clear that which field they'd wish to choose. There was a lot of limitations earlier, but I think as we have grown and progressed in life, it's for the world to see the kind of flexibility parents are providing, the kind of areas that are coming up, so much of innovation happening all across. So women should not limit themselves by just thinking that, okay, there is a gender bias. Because the moment we put ourselves in that bracket, subconsciously, we've already run ourselves down. So my thought is that don't undermine yourself. Don't undervalue yourself. In every field, there are issues. And when I look at women who are, basically popular, famous, and who are role models, we also need to understand there was a life behind them, which they had to sacrifice to reach where they are today. Similarly, for men, I think most of the men who are where they are today, of course, we understand how it works. As Rashmi correctly pointed out, network is a very big deal today. Not only for our nation, but we see it across the globe. I mean, everybody today understands that networking is a game changer. So coming from there, we are all learning how to work smartly. Probably our children are learning better than us because of the exposure they're getting. So for me, there is a lot of hope in not only the profession, but for the women of today, because they also understand that they need to be there for each other. And when that becomes something ingrained in their personality, I'm sure even the lady judges will be perceiving anybody in litigation appearing before them and they see that spark, there is no way they'll not encourage that youngster. So these are my thoughts on the profession.
Thank you. So Rashmi, do you have any complaints about the General Councils of India that most of them are men, and are they hiring enough women? Are they thinking about 50-50 when beauty contests happen? Do they see that the big law firms send all male teams? And when big tasks are to be assigned, are they being assigned fairly, equally? What complaints do you have about the General Councils of India?
Great question, Navneet. And actually, I have none. And maybe I've just been privileged and blessed. I have, as a GC, I had a great innings. I was in the EPC industry with both MNCs. I was the only woman on the leadership board, and I must say that it didn't matter what my gender was. As long as you know your topic, as long as you know what contribution you're bringing to the table, I don't think there's any table that will not listen to you. The people that are there to understand where your expertise is coming from and the answers that you're giving. Are you part of the company? Are you bringing, are you not just a cost center? Are you contributing to the business of the company? Are you being you opening venues for the business to be done? If you, and these are just basics that I'm talking about, if you're bringing all these, doesn't matter whether they are men on the board or in the room or in the law firm who's sending the other counsel for your support when you are asking your questions when you've assigned a matter to an external law firm. By the way, tremendous number of women already in law firms, and I had the good opportunity of working with a whole lot of them. What does happen normally is when, which Oindrila and Amanat also spoke about, when you're re-entering the profession, you had a good innings, and then you possibly take some time off, and then you're coming back into the profession, in your job or whatever, wherever you've taken a break, and you then feel that you've missed out on a few years, and you know, you could have made partner, you could have made GC already, and you're still part of the in-house team. That is where it makes a difference, but it is very easy to make up for it, because during the interim, when you're not really in active practice, if you've taken a full break, you can do tremendous number of courses or do freelancing work, or you know, just be connected with the work that you were doing, so that you're able to jump back to where you were. So where the biases are concerned, I assure you, in the corporate sector, while networking is definitely required, but when networking is required, it's equally required for the men. It is not as if a male in-house counsel is going to make more points just because of his gender. And just going back to your question, which you would put to Prerna, as to when Honorable Justice Indu Malhotra was appointed from the bar, and why no other women has. And your question to Amanat, as you know, regarding reservations, I think it's all on merits. But one thing which irks me and which remains unanswered is that, is it real that when we have 697, we're just talking about the highest judiciary, High Court. We are not talking about the district court. 697 male judges, only 116, 117 female judges. Is it because women don't have the wherewithal? Are we not up to the mark? There must be some reasons. Where's the transparency for this? Why are they not considered? Why are so many male members of the bar invited directly to the High Court or the Supreme Court, and not the women? So we need some transparency in the system also. We don't need so much reservation, but the same criteria on the basis of which male members are being appointed to higher positions, whether it is judiciary, whether it is partnership in law firm, whether it is GCs, If you really go on merit, sir, I would say that women are just as meritorious. There is a leakage somewhere where they are not considered. Those are the points that we need to understand and address as a community, as lawyers community, to really bring the women up more into mainstream in all these and being given a position of power. So as GC, I think that is, we have really safeguarded plenty of GCs in most companies, plenty of women. Women are now opting for in-house counsel position. And once they go in-house, then they obviously, GC is the highest position that they get. So in fact, that is one, I would say, a safe zone. Many more women GCs happening rather than women being taken. So then I would say the private sector is supporting women reservation without really making it a reservation rather than the government. So that's my take on it. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. No reservations required. I always debate with Tarina that you women have won and the men have lost. Most women are marrying down. Most women are paying more attention to college than men. Women have friends, men don't. Women take care of themselves and go for manicure and pedicure and massages, and 75% of doctors' visits are women. And yes, women have a tougher life, no doubt, from birth till the end. Women do more at home, at work, in society, take care of everything. Life clearly is harder for women, but then women live 7 years longer than men worldwide. So I'm like, you won, Tarina. Now can we stop arguing about this thing? And Tarina is always no, and she has her whole laundry list of data. You can give me the data, Tarina, but I have another question for you. So wage theft is very common throughout the world. In the developed world, wage theft is very low. Along with wage theft comes overtime not paid, benefits not paid. Some worker gets injured at work, and if there is wage theft, and there's benefit theft, and then there is caretaking theft. California probably has amongst the least wage theft of any society in the world, except for maybe the 5 countries in Northern Europe. India has 1.4 billion people. 900 million people are between the ages of 15 and 65. On official payroll in India, the number is 60 million. 7% of the country's on official payroll. 93% is not. That number is exactly the reverse in United States. 93% is on official payroll, and we don't know what 7% are doing. When 60 million people are on official payroll in India out of 900 million people, then it means that the people that are not on official payroll are not getting benefits, are not getting overtime, are not getting medical insurance, dental insurance, life insurance, and any benefits if they get injured. And I know, Tarina, your life is defending the employees that are being discriminated against at work and also with money. One of the most beautiful things in California and other places is that if an employee files a lawsuit and loses, they don't have to pay anything out of their pocket. But if they win, the other side, the employer has to pay the attorney's fees of the employee. That line alone, and billions of dollars is paid to lawyers for defending employees' rights. Billions of dollars, not MB. So, Tarina, you live this life. Can you shed some light on what are the best practices a country like India could adopt for reducing wage theft?
Wow, that's a really big question. But before I answer that, I would just like to point out, you said women have a really hard life, but women have won. I feel like those are quite juxtaposed to each other, right? Like if women have a hard life, then they haven't quite won yet. But then you pointed out all the ways, for example, some of the things that panelists have pointed out is having children or being married, and what is the balance between having a spouse and how much you're working. So for me, I'm not married. I don't have children. My work day never ends. I work all day, and I joke all the time, I wish I had a wife. Like I would be so much more successful and I would get so much more done if I had a wife. Like that sounds wonderful. I would come home, there's food made, and we already know women, it's never equal. Even in the United States, where you have partners who are willing to pitch in 50-50, women just multitask differently. So we end up taking on more of the burden when it comes to looking after the kids, the daily tasks at home. So women are taking on more. So they're working and they're taking on more. I also tell when I talk to law students and young attorneys, and this is something that we've started as women talking about, and this could be controversial, on this panel, but I think it's important to talk about. For young women, we tell them to freeze their eggs so that by the time you make partner, you haven't lost the opportunity to have kids because you're so focused, right? You're like, I need to do all these steps. I need to make partner. But by the time you make partner, then maybe it's too late now and you can't have kids. So we do encourage women and younger women to freeze their eggs. So by the time they make partner or they feel like they're successful and they are where they want to be with their careers, they can still have children. So these are all things, Navneet, that we as women think about on top of everything that men have to do, And I agree with what Prerna said. The mentality shouldn't be that the world is biased towards women. I think we're trailblazers. We need to continue blazing trails and moving forward with determination and opening doors, blasting through doors, and holding the ladder for other women to come up, right? Like women have held the ladder up for us, and we need to do that for other women. But I definitely don't think men and women are on equal fields. To answer your question about wage theft, I think that's a very simple answer. The answer is if people are not on payroll, then there's no accountability. So then you don't know what's going on in the background. Like California laws are very protective of their employees. Like we have very, very protective laws. And that includes what you said, the cost shifting provision. So when employees come to me, I take cases on contingency, which means I don't get paid a dime. I'm shelling out my money, my firm money, to represent these clients because I believe in the case. And if we win the case, then I get a percentage of the settlement. So that's how we kind of manage contingency cases for employees or for plaintiffs who can't afford to pay hourly. California has a cost shifting provision, which basically encourages employers to settle cases by saying, hey, if you're not going to settle this case and this goes to trial and you lose, then you have to pay not just your own attorney's fees, because employers have to pay their own attorneys, but now you're going to pay the employees' attorney's fees. So that's really like encouraging employers to come to the table in good faith and say, hey, what is the business risk that I'm taking with this case? Do we want to go to the end of the road and now have to pay double attorney's fees on top of the settlement, on top of emotional distress, on top of everything else? Or should we just, settle it for what it's worth right now? So I don't know if that answers your question, Navneet. I know it was a long-winded answer.
Yeah, the great answer. And of course, the issues with India are that the court system is slow. So if the justice is not going to be fast, then the employers are not going to want to settle, and this attorney's fees provision is not there, and lawyers are not allowed to work on a contingency basis. So three things need to be fixed. Thank you everyone for participating and joining. It's a great conversation. I was hoping for more controversial issues coming up in the answers, but maybe next time, maybe I was too soft in asking questions, and I should ask harder questions next time. And then, of course, I got flack that Navneet, this woman in law panel, how come there's no woman moderator and what the heck are you doing? And I figured somebody's gonna make noise about that. And I almost was gonna not join and send a message to all 5 of you, hey, handle the panel. But yeah, so I joined and I said we men have a lousy life and you women have a better life. So that makes up for a guy joining, right? Any final thoughts, 30 seconds each, if you want to share? Let's talk about some crazy ideas and why are the Indian lawyers putting up with all this nonsense? We're never going to become a successful country if lawyers are not allowed to work on a contingency basis. United States would be a very poor country if the success fee lawyering was not allowed. If you look at anything and everything in the United States, it works to near perfection, and there's one reason behind it. Everybody is scared of lawyers. The building I'm in a hotel in Beverly Hills, attending a wedding, and I said, okay, I need to go out. And it's such a fancy hotel that they don't even have a business lounge. So I went downstairs and there was a fitness center, and I'm sitting in front of the elevator. But everything is in perfection because of lawyers. 340 million people of the United States wake up every morning, all day long, anything wrong in their life, from an accident to water not coming in the morning, or the water heater not working, or schools, kids and teachers not showing up, and bad grades, wrongly given bad grades, to work, to harassment, to air in the city, and to a tree fallen on the road that hurt your child, anything. You can go to a lawyer and the lawyer will do work without taking money and will file a lawsuit and will get justice, speedy justice. 90% of cases settle within a year in most of the states in United States. California has a law that if a case is not tried within 5 years, it's thrown out by the court in favor of the defendant with prejudice. You can't file the lawsuit again because the statute is expired. I believe the oldest case in India from 1878 in Varanasi, the 2-acre lot drama is still going on. So my question to you is, why aren't we making noise? Why are we no hunger strikes? Why are there no morchars? Why are there no strikes? Why are all judges go on vacation in August of the same month? Why can't this be done over a period of time? Why don't we have evening courts? Why don't we have weekend courts? Why don't we have enough more judges? Why, 70 million pending cases in India, half of them, the government of India is either plaintiff or defendant, a quarter of them are criminal. 99% of criminal cases in the developed world settle on plea bargaining, a deal made between the defense counsel and the prosecutor that the judge approves. And that number is 1% in India. Can I ask all 4 of you in India, why are we keeping quiet? Prerna?
So, I would just like to add few things. I am very proud of my country to begin with, and any and every country which is going to, have its set of issues will also have the issues which you mentioned. And coming from there, I think that, I switched my profession from litigation to mediation. And I say with a lot of happiness. And it is very encouraging to see that a lot of cases which are into litigation are getting resolved in mediation for the simple reason that we believe that, India is a very diverse country. And when we talk about diversity, we also understand that there is a component which lives in the rural areas. And there is a component, we have all kind of segments, whether it be, from the high end to the middle to, of course, as I said, the rural. So coming from there, I would just say that each one of us who is trying to make a difference is trying to make a difference for sure. Once we understand that we have taken this human form and for what reason, when I say that, I say from the point that when I was in litigation, and I'm sure Rashmi and Oindrila and Amanat, sorry, understand that when you go to courts, it's not a happy situation. You see the kind of grievances, not only because the courts are overloaded, but kind of infrastructure that is there. There is monstrous proportions of litigations happening, which drag on and on for generations to come, right? Which makes the environment very toxic. Having seen that and the frustration that litigants undergo, I speak more for the majority part of India. The concept of mediation, which is an alternative dispute resolution, is something which needs to reach people. Why I say? Because it's cost effective, it reduces the backlog, the time it takes. It's because a party-centric process, it's voluntary. It is and basically encourages party to make their own decisions, very unlike court proceedings. So these people who, of course, I mean, there are occasions where in mediation also Tarina, not to overlook the fact that there are biases, because see, you ultimately need to understand when there is a community sitting in the village which believes in the panchayat, right? So they have a concept of panchayat, but when they travel to cities and are a part of pre-litigation mediation or a court annex mediation, there is a bias working somewhere in the head that she is a lady. However, I feel when you are doing in the course of the process, when you are doing your opening statement, that's when the trust has to be built in, that no matter what, even if I'm a woman, I have ears to listen. Be with me. Let's sit together, let's collaborate, and let's bring that hope which gets you timely decisions taken by yourselves, which are not possible in court, right? Because in court, either of them will win, whereas in mediation, it's a win-win for both. It becomes a me to a we. So, and the judiciary is also really promoting mediation, and I'm sure it's in the news, which everybody may have read. Colleges have been introduced, and there are so many competitions happening, and they're going way ahead. I mean, I would compliment my fraternity, of course, and the mediators particularly, because everybody is trying and striving hard to put it on the radar that if you're into litigation, please consider mediation, because it is going to have, somebody sitting there listening to you. You have a platform to vent out, be heard, and of course make your resolutions without when you're in litigation, there is no coming back. Here relations get repaired, your reputation, because we are very, in families, I mean, I say for largely most of the families, they are very particular about their reputation. So when you're in an open court, in a public forum, the reputation is all shredded to bits. In confidentiality, which is a part of mediation, a very strong component, there is, besides empathy, you are also in a room which is completely yours and for the mediator to be in, which is so, I think, which is so important, because reputation and your relationships, if they are restored, you're a winner. So I strongly feel that if you have a heart behind the work that you're doing, you will be satisfied end of the day, and that is what mediation gives to each mediator who is into mediation. Coming from the fact that how do we improve, I think this is a mechanism which is like, not only a life skill that we are learning as mediators, but I think this is also unburdening the courts. So for me, I I speak more from the fact that with education and with exposure and with the will, India is definitely going to be blipping on a very big way globally, which I already see it doing. But yes, with its shortcomings, which we do realize, and once we do realize, I'm sure, with my stalwarts here, I would say the amazing women we have on board, and there are several more outside this online session. And of course, not to forget the men folk who are striving, and there will be people who will be taking each bit of the, I would say, undermined and under, I would say, like as you said in America, the systems. Slowly and steadily, yes, we will be there. So this is my
Yeah,
thought on it.
let's forget great thoughts. Mediation is great. Let's forget about the men till 50% of the lawyers in India are women. Rashmi, any final thoughts?
Just supporting what Prerna said, and further to what you were asking regarding contingency fee in India and why it's not prevalent. So my two-bit, as Prerna said, if contingency comes in, my God, our litigation would really go over the roof. We are already overburdened. The reason why we don't have contingency fee, I think, is also because nobody sees the light at the end of the tunnel in India when they go into litigation. Whereas that is more visible in the US, and you know when the outcome is going to come and whether, and they have well assessed outcomes. The law firm knows that this is a winning case and I will get something out of it. Here, the lawyers are actually just either the lawyers or the judiciary, for some reason or the other, there is over and above the backlog, and is the reason why there's no light at the end of the tunnel. So that's one part of it. Two, if our the professional litigators, as it were, they were to increase the number of cases, there would be no end. We would just need many number of judges and courts to be increased. Third, the option instead of that contingency fee is where our country is going, is to reduce the litigation, and that's where mediation comes in, and which restores relationships, as it were, and at least you see the amount coming in, even if it's less, by way of settlements. And so my take on this is that whether it is contingency fee, whether it is mediation, your dispute resolution needs to take place. And who's better at dispute resolution? I think it's the women. We have far more mediators nowadays, where women are from the women, from this gender rather than from the males. So I believe that each system, each situation, each country requires a different mindset, a different way of addressing a problem. And I think our collective community, both genders as well as our CJI, the people who are leading the community collectively, are working towards making mediation more prevalent rather than litigation being reinforced by contingency fee. That's my take on it, Navneet.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi. Amanat, any final thoughts?
I would like to actually ask everyone, since I am from academics, so I've been, like I earlier mentioned, I've been teaching law. I'm an assistant professor. Definitely, we've seen a change now. There are students who were earlier, quite smitten about being a judge, but that has slowly and gradually changed. Uh, Rightly said by Rashmi ma'am and Prerna ma'am that we have so many girl students, at least I have, who are very clear and they aspire to become a mediator in the future. Uh, they say it is more safer than being a litigant, especially practicing in district courts in Punjab. So that's why they feel that this is a little more safer option. So they are very much clear-headed when it comes to choosing their profession. So they are quite ready. So for them, we've also established, and for students like these, we've also established Madhyastha, which is a center of excellence in arbitration dispute resolution system. So here what we're trying to just like to highlight what I'm trying to do. And we're trying to, try to bridge between the theory and the reality. We're focusing on a design future-ready legal education system. So we're also integrating courses on gender justice, on ADR, professional ethics, and also mental well-being, especially for the women. How can they, make their work-life balance? And we prepare students not just to enter the profession, but to also sustain it very well and lead within it. So we're also actively trying to strengthen the clinical legal education. Well, I'm happy to say that Chandigarh University is striving hard. We'll have pro bono system. We have legal aid society within our department. So a student engage with real clients and especially women and marginalized communities. So they develop both legal competence and social sensitivity. So, we're trying to create a generation of lawyers who are more empathetic and reform oriented at the end. So, also, we're organizing conferences, publications, and then so many academic forums are provided a safe space so that they can critically evaluate the functioning of the courts and suggest progressive changes to them. Also, I feel today's we have in the current scenario, it wasn't there when actually I was studying law, but the system of internship, we provide a mandatory internship like in the month of June, where students actually, actively participate with the advocates, which is also, I think, there's a system in America also where the students who are pursuing law can actually assist or represent a client in a case, but definitely with the assistance of a professional lawyer. So we're trying to bring that same concept here also in India, where they at least if not they're able to represent, they can always accompany the advocate and actively be a witness to how the proceedings happen. And then definitely when they actually have a visualization of how the courts are practicing, they can at the end of the day make up their mind as to what they would want to be in the future. And by this method, there are so many students who are now very clear, like I said, that especially the girls, that they would want to be mediators. So this is what we're trying to bring in a change. And I would also like to ask the distinguished panel as to what more can we as, an assistant professors who are teaching law students can do better to shape the careers of the students. Like what else can be done? And I would be happy to collaborate with any one of you to give my students a better future. That's all I would want from them. Thank you.
Wonderful. Karina, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I want to go back a little bit and say, so America is a very litigious country. Like Navneet said, you can bring a lawsuit for anything, and I think, we know this. So the courts are backed up here too, not like India, obviously, not so many years, but there is a backup relative to what we expect here. So judges here prefer mediation. They encourage attorneys to go to mediation. Out of all my cases, everything has settled pre-litigation. I have only one case that's in court in the past 6 years. I haven't seen the inside of a courtroom. So most of our cases are also through mediation or arbitration. So I think there's a lot of similarity in that sense between both the countries and how things are done. I love what you said about women being better mediators. I 100% agree with that. I think women are better at everything in general, but yes, 100%. I think I want to leave everyone with the fact that the law is such a powerful profession. It's the most powerful profession, I think. You can affect change in so many ways. You can do anything you want. So even if you go to law school, you can become a professor, you can become a judge, you can go into politics. You see the world differently. You articulate things differently. So I think it's a great profession to affect change, and we can do whatever that we want to do. And all the panelists here are doing it in their own ways, in their, in their little paths, which is so beautiful to see. So I just want to leave everyone with that. This is a very powerful profession, and we can do anything we want.
Thank you, Tarina. Indrila, before we end with you, I want to ask Satyajit Gupta if he's on the call, because I saw his name. He's General Counsel of EXL. And I thought we'd put him on the spot and ask him how many women lawyers does he have, and does he have 50% of his staff as women lawyers? And is the next General Counsel of EXL going to be a woman? Now, after hearing this, maybe he won't pick up the phone. But are you on the call, Satyajit?
Yeah, Navneet. So I think, I think almost 70% of our team is women lawyers, and absolutely the next general counsel of EXL most probably will be a woman. And I think it has been a fantastic session, and thanks for sharing. And I, I liked some of the points you made, and I think some of the points are not so much about women, but overall, I think the legal profession in India needs a lot of things to happen. But I think we all need to do more, right, to get more women into our, whether it's legal departments, whether it's law firms, and create the space safe, and sort of like a happy working space for them to work.
Wonderful, Satyajit. Thank you. I tried very hard last year to get my friend Kamala Harris to become president, but we failed, and I was told that there's no way United States is ever going to have a woman president. And I'm reminded of the fact that all 4 South Asian countries have had women presidents or heads of state or prime ministers forever. A country like Bangladesh, over 50% of its life, there has been a woman leader. So in a lot of ways, our countries are far ahead. And I think, like Tarina said, law is a very powerful profession. I think the biggest change in India will come from law. I feel we got political freedom in 47 and economic freedom in 91. And if we want to become a first world nation, which we will become one day, but lawyers can get us there faster, and especially women lawyers. So with that, we'll end the session with Indrila's final comments.
I'm just conscious of time, so I'll keep it short on 2 points that you made. One on why no contingency fees. I feel our courts are not equipped. And this is a time where we are moving towards ADR, and we are looking at ways for dispute avoidance. I don't think we are ready for this discussion at the moment, because this will lead to an enormous number of speculative litigation, and also clients would tend to increase the claim amounts. So I think it's going to be a total mess, and I don't really see this coming up in the near future. And your second part of your question was why we are not doing anything about it. I feel we need more organizations like ILA and more people like you to ask the real questions and actually make a difference. And all of us should individually take out time from our daily lives. I personally dedicate my weekends to this to actually bring in the change in the profession. Yeah. Thank you.
Wonderful. Awesome. Become the next president of ILA, Indrila.
Absolutely.
And, take this forward. Okay. We'll be in touch with you, all of you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Enjoy your lunch, and good night, Tarina. Thank you, Satyajit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Take care. Have a good
Thank you,
day.
everyone.
Thank
So
you.
lovely to
Thank
meet you all.
Yeah, same here. Take
Nice
care. Thank
meeting
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Nice
Bye.
to see you, Rashmi.
Bye, Prerna. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye, Andrella. Nice meeting you.
Bye bye. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Take care. Have a good time. Thank you. Bye-bye.